Because
Your
now
delta's
instead of a
small.
delta T of 70, you're
Yeah.
gonna have a delta T of 10 to 20, and your flow rates are gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, your flow rates through the tankless heater are gonna be very high. Because the less you have to heat it, the higher flow rates you can have, right?
That's right.
Yeah, but we
So-
don't need the flow.
No, but if
You
you
could,
were in a
yeah.
situation, I'm just trying to think of a really high-end home that they do want to build green and use some green technology, yet they still want the jacuzzi tub or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
They
yeah.
still
Yeah,
want,
you're gonna.
Best of both worlds. Yeah.
let's face it, yeah, some people with a lot of money, they want everything.
Yeah.
So that would really be beneficial in that
Mhm.
situation.
Love to crunch those numbers for you. I'll offer again. And we'll just create a new chart. We'll show
It'll be
all
fun
the-
to try.
Yeah.
It gets confusing with that preheated solar thermal piece.
It does, yeah, and what are you gonna base it on? Because you have to start using averages, and that's gonna vary from location to location, right?
So will
Yeah.
the storage temperature.
Yeah,
Yeah, a bit, but if you talk to Dr. DeMont, his sits pretty steady through the year. Goes down a bit in the winter, but his tank seems to hold pretty steady.
That's at the factory 9 house in the Regina.
That would be
That's
interesting.
in his
That's
house
his
here.
place?
Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be interesting to do.
Yeah, that would be.
Be a nice project to look at.
Yeah, it's got
Oh,
some
we will.
complex one here.
We'll stick some of our application engineers on it for you. Venting, very important, because with any product, proper installation, extremely important, whether it's ours or it's a furnace or whether it's a tank. And the venting that we use with condensing venting. Renai uses Ubig's polypropylene venting. It's a specially designed venting for our product. It's also used on our boilers. There's quite a few advantages to using it. Polypropylene, first of all, for exhaust, it's well proven. It's been used for a long time in Europe, and that's somewhat it's the standard. It has a positive fit in the locks for in terms of how it's a female to female connection. Also, in terms of the connections, there's let me skip over the next one. Instead of having seams that are caulked or sealed with that which can crack over time, it's actually an engineered gasket basically. So it's meant to withstand different temperatures and different weather sets. You're dealing with, this is, as you can see in the graphic, written over it, as you can see in the graphic, this is your exhaust and your, what's the term we're looking for?
Intake.
It's a concentric.
It's a concentric, thank you. Yeah, it's a concentric venting. So that's what makes this unique. Let me skip over
So
this.
does that mean it doesn't use any air from the space for combustion?
No, it doesn't. It's all from outside. That makes it more efficient.
Well, and also too in terms of installation too, there's zero clearance for combustibles. So with this, because the pipe is cooled, you're not running into putting in that space savings again in terms of putting in big bulkheads and things like that. And there's zero clearance on the engine. Very important. In terms of just costing, it's 20 to 30% less than the non-condensing concentric venting. It's about 60% less in cost than stainless steel concentric vent.
So do these heaters have to be installed on an outside wall, or can they be vented out from centrally located?
No, they don't have to. I mean, there are rules in terms of the venting limitations. 41
It's
feet.
41 feet, total linear length,
So pretty much anywhere in the house?
anywhere in the house.
It's one of those really rich people you're talking about has that
Yeah.
problem.
The 80-foot house?
Yeah. So you're sizing something up for your cottage.
Yeah.
Is that what you're really saying? Water heating accounts for about 50% of the energy use on average. Is that fair in Canada as well? Is that
Higher than that here, I'd say.
Is it? Okay.
20% above was what we had modeled this house as if we had built it to standard code in Saskatchewan.
Okay. Very interesting. Any questions? I've been kind of whipping through stuff, less gas usage, the environmental benefits, the low cost venting. Any questions or concerns?
Very compelling presentation.
Well, thank you. It's something like this is really meant. I think it's really meant to scratch the surface and continue the conversation. I think where we can probably excel working together is comparing systems, giving some options, looking at, integrating other technologies such as the solar. That's very important. And how can we integrate with other systems?
I know we're presently working with a solar technology company in Kentucky. They're doing some testing with the Renai water meters. And that just happened in January this year. So we've got no test results yet, but we are working with solar people in the US. Because it's becoming more and more evident. We're seeing a lot more solar technology, all over North America.
I was just in Germany on the weekend and we're just researching for retrofits. And I was in an older house and it was a Bosch system that they had installed. I think you said Bosch was one of your customers.
Yeah.
But basically they were using solar thermal, and I think it was a gas, a natural gas. I don't think it was natural gas, but it was propane. Maybe. And it was in combination to heat the house and hot water. So it was to do those two. And, they were ecstatic about it. It was such a small looking system, like it was
Yeah, the
one
footprint's
little,
tiny.
one
Yeah.
little box to heat
That's
the house.
remarkable.
They insulate so well, it was a 3-story house I was looking at, and they had one heater in the middle of the ground level, and that was enough to heat the entire house. Now, their climate's not nearly as bad as ours, of course, but that one, it was like this big, a little hydronic heater in the middle of the house. And the hot air rose up and they were done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
And their estimates for hot water per person it was 40 liters per person per day or something, really, really low by our standards.
yeah. Well, we've had it good here for a long time, so.
Well, yeah, they pay 3 times what we do for energy. So
It's a different lifestyle to grown up that way. Entire generations have grown up that way. We could have spent a lot of time probably talking about home heating, using combined systems, because we're seeing a lot of that. Well,
Yeah.
Ken's neck of the woods in
Yeah.
Toronto,
Yeah.
seeing a lot of, condominium development, using that same concept, using, the tankless unit with a hydronic furnace,
And indoor heating, radiant
indoor
heating.
Mhm.
high velocity ductwork, everything to save space
Yeah.
and efficiency using one system.
Yeah.
So this is really just, like I mentioned, it's really just scratching the surface in terms of what we can do with single source. But we have, this is meant to generate a lot of questions. We have mentioned multiple 1-800 numbers. Please call if you do have questions.
Yeah.
Certainly Echo, our great partner here, and Ken or myself can be reached at any time.
Are there any, what struck me as really interesting in Germany is everything they do seems to be a turnkey system. So like it came in a box, they'd open the box, and they'd put it on the wall, and it was done.
Yeah.
Is there a turnkey hydronic heating, hot water? And
Our boilers are almost like that, where they come in a box, you take the box apart, and it's got all the fittings in it. So basically, you're lifting that boiler, you're attaching it on a wall, and all the fittings are right there, and the plumber just brings his plumbing in, and the electrician brings a cord in for the, so everything's right there.
And that boiler would produce hot water for
And
showers as well as hot water for
Domestic heating and domestic hot water, yes.
That's, I think you could probably relate to this with your days with Carrier. That's very much a European concept.
Yeah.
I spent 15 years in commercial ventilation, and it was, in terms of their systems, everything is, factory made, ready to go, just to be installed and connected. Whereas here, there's a little bit more, you're building it in the field.
It's building on site.
Yeah. And it's a design a building concept is completely different.
They seem to have a lot of trouble. They're not used to forced air. So as soon as you get into the heat recovery ventilators and stuff like that, their pricing just goes crazy. Like compared to us, they're double for putting in an HRV. Yet everything else, they seem to blow the doors off us.
But they're so hydraulic oriented.
They know hydronic
Yeah.
backwards. As soon as you start doing forced air stuff, they go,
Well,
what's that all about? They insist on having sound mufflers on the HRV because they're so not used to having
The noise.
the noise of the fans.
Yeah.
So they have sound suppression on the HRV, which of course increases the cost significantly, which, and we're just used to it. We hear that, it's almost reassuring when you hear the furnace kick in.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
they-
think the main reason it went that way was so they could do high mass, low temperature radium.
Yeah,
And that's the most efficient way to heat a place, so.
Mm.
Yeah, importing.
Yeah, forced air in Europe is a foreign, it really is a foreign concept. You talk to them, you talk to people there and they say, why would you do that? That's what they say. Why would you do that? That's so inefficient.
yeah.
And it really is.
Well, they've got so much thermal mass in their houses,
Mhm.
and then once they get the house warmed up, it's just a matter of keeping it warm, right? And then they insulate this thick on the outside, and it's all brick on the inside, and
Yeah.
it's an interesting, like, it's so foreign to the way we build.
It is, isn't it?
I was trying to explain to the guy how we do this, our double wall construction. And he looked at me, why on earth would you do it like that?
Yeah.
You know, why would you do it that
Build it
way?
out of cement, insulate the outside of the cement,
Yeah.
and heat it.
That's incredible.
Well, hopefully we didn't have too much time. I know we're trying to keep to a schedule. Is any other questions?
Yeah, you may talk a bit about what you can do for us in Saskatoon, just to mind just talking a few minutes about services you guys offer and how you could help people that are thinking about being as efficient as possible in their heating and hot
And as a
water.
wholesale distributor, we're basically just,
Yeah.
you know, we're a go-between between the manufacturer and the
Yeah.
mechanical contractors.
Yeah, okay.
So far as design and stuff, we don't get involved in that at all.
Do you talk to any of our guys in the product application?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we get some houses where they have ridiculous amount of flow, 15 shower heads in one shower, and
Mm,